What's up guys, my name is Frosty Infernape, and today we're going to be doing something every Pokemon YouTuber does. I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Pokemon of all time. This list was actually kind of difficult for me to figure out. I knew my top 5 favorite Pokemon, I could figure those out easily, maybe top 6 pretty easily. But the last couple Pokemon I really had a hard time putting in their placements, and I had to scrap a few Pokemon from this list that I really like, so I'm going to be doing some honorable mentions. And one more thing, this obviously is an opinionated video, so if you don't like opinions, you should leave because you're not going to like this video. And just because your favorite Pokemon isn't in my list doesn't mean I don't like it, so understand that, and let's get into the video. So let's start with the 5 honorable mentions. Now these 5 Pokemon could have easily been on the list, but for one reason or another, they're not. But those are Luxray, Weavile, Dialga, Torkoal, and Zebstrika. Kicking this list off at number 10 is everybody's least favorite Johto starter, but my favorite Johto starter, Chikorita, / Bayleaf, / Meganium. But mostly Bayleaf, because Bayleaf is the best out of that line. I really like Bayleaf's design, and I like it in the anime, and Ash's Bayleaf in the anime is absolutely awesome and adorable. I used a Chikorita and then Bayleaf and eventually Meganium in my Pokemon Moon playthrough, my very first ever Pokemon Moon playthrough, and it did pretty well. It was actually one of the MVPs of my team. I wish Johto wasn't so bad for grass types because Chikorita gets a lot of crap for being so bad in Johto, but I think if Johto was a better region that you could use grass types in, the Chikorita / Meganium / Bayleaf line would be so much more liked and so much better. Yeah, the reason I think people don't like this Pokemon is that in Johto it's pretty much useless, and if you can't use a starter Pokemon from a certain region in the region it's in, people aren't going to like it. See, I didn't use one until Generation 7, where it's actually usable. Number 9 is another grass starter, this time from Hoenn, being Sceptile, my favorite Hoenn starter. A Sceptile is on this list because I have a lot of memories with Sceptile. Around this time a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, I got back into Pokemon after being out of it for a couple years. And the game I got when I got back into it was Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, and I chose to use a Trico in that game. That Trico eventually became my trusty Sceptile that I used all throughout the game, and I absolutely loved every moment of using it. Ash's Sceptile from the Pokemon anime was also really nice, which is why, and Ash's Sceptile alone, plus his other Pokemon, really made me love the Hoenn anime a lot. Sceptile just has such a cool design and is such a cool Pokemon, and its signature move Leaf Blade is one of my favorite Pokemon signature moves. Number 8 on this list is my favorite Steel and my favorite Ghost Pokemon, Aegislash. Every time I play through Kalos, I always end up using an Aegislash, and who can blame me? It dominates in Kalos. It has a really awesome design, and it has one of my favorite shinies of all time. I remember the day Pokemon X and Y came out, I got Pokemon Y, and I discovered Honedge and thought it was cool, so I caught it. It eventually became an Aegislash, and when I discovered Aegislash, it became one of my favorite Pokemon of all time because of how great it was and how its design looked. At number 7, we have my favorite water starter, Greninja. When Pokemon X and Y were first released and I saw the first commercial on TV, I saw Froakie, and it immediately became one of my favorite starters of all time. Little did I know, my little Froakie would become a powerful Greninja. Greninja and Aegislash, who I mentioned before, both carried my team through my first X and Y playthrough, and Greninja was great on the team. It has such a cool design, and Ash's Greninja in the anime is really cool, plus it's my favorite character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Also, Greninja's signature move, Water Shuriken, is absolutely amazing, and might even rival Leaf Blade for my favorite signature move. Next up, we have number 6. Now, these last 6 Pokemon, you might notice a trend here. Most of them are from Sinnoh. In fact, of my top 6, all but one is from Sinnoh. Anyway, my number 6 favorite Pokemon of all time is my favorite water Pokemon, Buizel. Buizel has such a cool design, and it's really cool in the anime as Ash's Buizel. I remember watching Dawn catch that Buizel and trade it to Ash for Apom. I remember how powerful Buizel was in its Aqua Jet attack. Buizel is one of the few Pokemon I like better when it's not evolved. Floatzel's cool, but Buizel is cooler. As I explained before, most of the reason I like Buizel is because of the Pokemon anime, which is why I like a lot of these next Pokemon on this list. Now we get into the top 5. My number 5 favorite Pokemon of all time is Staraptor. In my opinion, the best regional bird. Pretty much every Sinnoh playthrough I do, I end up using a Staraptor. And I play through Sinnoh a lot, so I've used a lot of different Staraptors. I'm pretty sure almost everyone has used a Staraptor in a Sinnoh game at some point. Staraptor is probably the best flying type you can use in Sinnoh. It's fast, has great attack stats, has some great moves, and a really cool design. Also, like a lot of Pokemon on this list, part of the reason I like it is Ash is in the anime. As you can tell, I've watched a lot of Generation 4 anime, which is might be my favorite season of the anime, or seasons, or Generation 3, one or the other. But Ash's Staraptor is really cool, and I like seeing its evolution from a Starly at the beginning to become Ash's really powerful Staraptor. Plus, I like seeing that evolution when I use it, as it starts off as a weak Starly, and I progress in the game, and it becomes a really powerful Staraptor that I use all the time. I also really like how it gets the move Close Combat. It gives it a little more personality, because not many bird Pokemon can learn that move. The only other flying Pokemon I've used on a Sinnoh team was Drifblim, and I hated it. I remember I wanted to take a break from Staraptor, but when I did take a break from Staraptor, I immediately wanted to go back because Staraptor is just that great. And surprise, surprise, we have another grass starter on this list. At number 4, we have Torterra, slash Turtwig, slash Grottle. The whole line I like, but Torterra is what's in the spot at number 4 because it's my favorite out of those 3. Torterra has always been one of my favorite Pokemon, but I've never used it as much because of another Pokemon on this list, which you probably guessed. I mean, it's Infernape. Not really a spoiler, I mean, my channel is named Frosty Infernape, and I have said in the past, my favorite Pokemon is Infernape. But because of that, I haven't used Torterra much. I've used it a couple times, but I recently used it on a Sinnoh playthrough, and I really enjoyed it. Plus, shocker, Ash is in the anime I really liked. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen the Detective Pikachu movie I saw the day it came out, and Torterra in that was literally a mountain. It was amazing. Torterra was, in my opinion, the best Pokemon in Detective Pikachu. But Torterra's design, like I said, is really cool. I like how it's like a tortoise type thing with like stuff going on its back and the tree on its back. And I like those spikes coming out of its back. That's really cool. But yeah, number 4, Torterra. And now we get to the top 3. My number 3 favorite Pokemon of all time is Gliscor. You probably expected me to say this, but part of it is because of Ash's Gliscor. It's actually the main reason, because I found out about Gliscor from the anime, and I really wanted to use one on my team. The problem is, in every generation it's in, Gliscor is a pain to get, so I've never actually used one. I've used a Gligar, and I've had a Gliscor, but I didn't really get to use it throughout a playthrough. I used it for a couple battles post-game in X and Y. Not to mention, Gliscor is my favorite shiny Pokemon of all time. It looks absolutely amazing. I like how it could really have multiple types. It's ground and flying, but it could easily be a bug or a poison type. It's really the only Pokemon that could have 4 types when you think about it. I really like how it's basically a flying scorpion. I think that looks really cool. Now, I said in a past video I don't really like to use old Pokemon in new regions, but I might make an exception to that in Sword and Shield depending on how easy Gliscor is to get. I really want to use one throughout a playthrough on a team, but like I said, it's just too hard. But if Gliscor makes it into Sword and Shield, and it's really easy to get, or not really easy, as long as it's easier than it has been to get, I might consider using one in Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'm sure you guys are tired of seeing Sinnoh Pokemon on this list, so in my second spot, we got a Pokemon from Johto, the 2nd generation, that Pokemon being Aipom. Say it with me now, I really like Aipom because of the Pokemon anime. I like when Ash caught it, how Aipom kept stealing Ash's hat, and I think it was really cool. I like how Ash caught it and took it with him to Sinnoh. The only thing I didn't like is when Aipom went to Dawn and Weasel went to Ash in that trade. How Aipom went down more of a contest route, I guess. I don't know. I liked Aipom when it battled, but I really like Aipom's design. I also really like Aipom Shiny. I think it's really cool. And I caught one in Pokemon Go, and it's one of my favorite things I have in Pokemon Go. Now, I like Apom way better than Ambipom. I think Ambipom is kind of a strange design. Not to say I don't like it, but Apom is just so cool and so cute at the same time. It deserves to be my second favorite Pokemon of all time, only behind one other Pokemon. And you're kind of an idiot if you didn't see this coming. My favorite Pokemon of all time, it's in my channel name, and I mentioned it earlier, is Infernape. I like Chimchar and Monferno and Infernape almost all equally, but Infernape edges out the other two. Infernape, where do I even start with Infernape? It was my favorite starter Pokemon, and it's also my first Pokemon that I ever used. It was my first starter Pokemon of all time, and I've used it through countless playthroughs in Sinnoh. I even used one on my Ultra Moon team. Well, this is the last time you hear me say this in this video, but I like this Pokemon because of the anime. Yada yada yada, shocker, I know. Anyway, the anime really made me like Pokemon. When I was younger and I watched the anime on TV, it's really what got me into Pokemon, so I have a valid reason for saying that a lot through this list. But anyway, I really like the story arc of when Paul disowns Chimchar and Ash trains it up to become a really powerful Infernape, and it fights its old rival, Electivire, in the Sinnoh League and beats it. Infernape also has easily the coolest design out of any Pokemon, in my opinion, of course. I mean, come on, it's a monkey that's on fire. Out of all the firefighting starters, my favorite is Infernape. It's just the coolest in my opinion. Compared to a giant chicken and a giant pig, I'd rather have a giant monkey on fire. I'm just kidding about that, but I mean, I really would rather have a fire monkey over a fire chicken and fire pig. But Combuskin and Emboar are cool, and possibly Scorbunny's evolution, whatever that turns out to be, probably will be a fighting type, knowing Game Freak. But I'm getting off track. Infernape is the best firefighting type, the best Pokemon, and the coolest Pokemon, and my favorite Pokemon. I'm kind of just rambling on about Infernape now, but I really just like it that much. The only thing about Infernape I don't like is it's shiny. I mean, it's still my favorite Pokemon of all time, so obviously it's not enough to hold it back from being my favorite, but it would be literally the perfect Pokemon if it had a cool shiny, in my opinion, of course, because I know people get really mad over opinions, so I have to add that a lot, or else people will get mad. So yeah, Infernape is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I named my channel after it. Obviously, it's going to be my favorite. I'm sorry about rambling about Infernape for a while. I just kind of got off topic recording this because I really like Infernape, and obviously I can talk about it a lot. But thank you guys for watching. You've seen my top 10 favorite Pokemon. Follow me on social media. I'm Frosty Infernape, and I'll see you in the next video.